Hello YouTube, it is your boy B3 here, back with another kicking vlog video. Recently I did a vlog about how I would write the Godzilla franchise, and I've already done several vlogs about how I would reboot movies and how I would portray several characters. And today we're going to talk about how I would write Ultraman, and Naughty Cat's going to join me for this one, because she's a good girl. So how would I write Ultraman? Well, I kind of like the Ultraman format now, to be completely honest. I think the way they're doing Ultraman now is really, really good. And I wouldn't have terribly many changes. I would have Ultraman with lots of very unique designs, like they have now. Very unique designs. I would go multiple forms, but not too many forms, you know? Lots of Ultraman these days, I feel like, have too many forms, and I know why they have so many forms. It's so they can sell more toys, because Toku is not cost-effective to make, and they need the merchandise income to afford to make all these different suits for Ultraman and monsters and etc., etc., etc. But I feel like it's also kind of exhausting to the viewer, and then we'll see a form for like 3 episodes and never see it again. So I would have a base form, maybe like 2 middle forms, a final form for the show, and then a movie form. That's about as far as I would go. That's about as far as I would go. The main Ultra would be pretty good, you know. I don't feel like I would write it with a Science Patrol original Ultraman kind of take. I wouldn't do it Monster of the Week. I wouldn't have the team that fights the kaiju. I would have the story mostly just be about the Ultraman, and he would be an adult living his everyday life. The show would still be geared towards families, a family audience. I would gear it towards a family audience for sure. We know more mature Ultraman stuff can work, things like Ultraman the Next and Ultraman Nexus, but I feel like Ultraman is at its best when it's for the family. So definitely would be a for the family Ultraman show. You would have a transformation gadget. He would have weapons as an Ultra. That I wouldn't shy away from many different weapons. I shy away from too many forms, but not weapons. Because lots of Ultramen don't really have much in the way of weapons at all. But recent Ultramen have had several weapons, and I think the weapons really add a lot to the combat. They add a lot to the show in general. So weapons, I think, are a great idea, and I would promote weapons in my show. There would be lots of legacy monsters, like Gomora, Black King, Red King, that I would bring back. Ella King, of course. Gudon would be a big one for me. We'd definitely have a Gudon and Twin Tail episode. But I would also really focus on new monsters or new forms of previous monsters. You know, in shows we get new Gomeras all the time, like Earth Gomera and Skull Gomera. I would definitely have a fancy new Gomera, but I would probably have a Legacy Gomera turn into it. And I would have Gomera start out as an adversary, but gain respect for Ultraman and become an ally. Because I feel like Gomera is only written as an ally these days, when it's a true, tried and true Gomera. So I would really like to see more villain Gomera again. Well, not really a villain, but like, freak of nature, I don't mean to destroy, I'm a monster, what am I supposed to do kind of creature. There would be a secondary Ultraman, who doesn't steal too much of the spotlight, but is perhaps more serious and doesn't understand the normal Ultraman's ideals of justice, kind of an Ultraman Hikari or Ultraman Victory type character. I'm really into side Ultras, so I would definitely have that. As I said, it would not be Monster of the Week. It wouldn't be episodic. Sure, we'd probably fight a new monster each episode, but the show would be serialized. I would definitely want a more serialized show like Ultraman Geed. You know what I mean? There would be an evil Ultraman, not a copy like Ultraman Nice or Ultraman Tiga Dark or something like that, or a clone like Dark Zagi. I'm talking about a straight-up Ultraman who is evil. Like Belial, but not exactly like Belial. Sorry, I always go back and forth between those pronunciations, and that's just because I'm dumb. But I would have an evil Ultraman be the villain. 100% I would have an evil Ultraman be the villain. Perhaps this is an Ultraman that was evil in the past and had their powers stripped from them and were exiled. And they're summoning all these monsters to Earth to try to gain their powers back, because every time the good Ultraman fights one of these monsters, he expels energy, right? Expels a lot of energy, and then that energy is absorbed by the evil Ultraman in an attempt to recover his lost form. And then, of course, the evil Ultraman would be the final foe in the show. The movie would be its own self-contained story. And there would only be one movie, not several movies, not DVD specials. I would only be interested in the single season that's that Ultra story, and then a movie for each one. You can have previous Ultraman in the movies, though. And that's another thing I want to speak on, continuity. So, recently, in the kind of our Gadget Ultraman era, it's been very much about legacy, starting with Ginga, which was an anniversary show, which makes sense. So, of course, Ultraman Ginga would, or Ginga, would have lots of legacy stuff. But so has really every season after that. But they also don't seem to really fit into continuity with each other. And it's kind of nice that they can tell creative stories without having to worry about continuity now, which I like. We can get something completely new and creative each season if they want to give it to us. However, if you're going to have all those previous Ultras guest starring all the time, maybe you are going to want to worry about continuity. Because having plot holes really isn't too much of a problem. Plot holes are going to exist in every movie, TV show, book. Every source of fictional media is going to have plot holes. Because it isn't real. And you can't really expect it to be like that. But when you have too many plot holes, like Ultraman often does, things start to just fall apart. Think about a piece of paper. You poke enough holes into a piece of paper and it's just going to become like a web that just rips apart. And you're not going to be able to hold a story together. And I feel like lots of Ultraman movies are like that now. Like, did you see the Ultraman Ginga S movie? Well, where did all those Ultras come from? Why was Nexus talking? What was going on? I mean, it was a fun movie to watch, but still. So, a focus on continuity from my first season onward. I would have a single season for each Ultra and then a movie, and then we get a new Ultra with a new power set, origins, etc. in the next season, but it would be continuity with the previous. I would have legacy monsters, but most monsters, if brought back, would have fancy new forms. Sorry about the cows. Now, I would really like original monsters, you know, as many as I could afford to use. And just so much other stuff. So much other stuff. And I really like Ultraman. I like the direction it's currently going. And there isn't that much I would currently change for Ultraman. I would bring it stateside, though. But I hear Subaraya wants to bring it stateside anyways. So, that's that. So that's all. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. Oh, and this is right on my list, and I forgot to mention it. Female Ultras. I would want an Ultra Woman show. It is about time for an Ultra Woman show. I mean, I thought we had a pretty cool Ultra Woman in RB, Ultraman Rube. So maybe the secondary Ultra could be a woman. That was right on my notes for this video, and I didn't say it, and I'm sorry. That's it. Thank you all once again for your support, and I'll see you all later.